Chris, how are you?
Yeah, good. For all of you that don't know me, my name's Chris, and today I'm going to be running a discussion on the pulse. Now, hopefully we're going to run this into discussion because that's the chapter we've just read, so hopefully I'll be trying to get all of you to participate today. Now, can somebody tell me what actually pulse stands for, just so that I can know what you guys know about all this? Someone want to have a chance and maybe guess what pulse means?
Principles of learning and teaching.
Yeah, beautiful. Great. All right, so just some further questions because Chris covered a bit of this last week. Does anybody want to have a go at trying to answer some of them so that we understand a bit more what the pulse are? How many of them are there? Who created them? Anybody got any ideas? Just give me donuts. That's all right. Maybe someone up the back, you haven't spoken a lot. Alright, great. So this pretty much shows me that you don't know as much as I thought you would about the pulse. So I've got a working definition up there, if you guys want to read that now. And then I might talk about that a bit. Yeah. So there are 6 of them, and they're 4 teachers. They're 4 teachers to help us understand how we can encourage and engage with the students, pretty much. So it's to encourage us to be better teachers and to have a learning environment that is very supportive for the teachers. Now there's 6 principles. I'm going to look at the first principle today, which is students learn best when the learning environment is supportive and productive. Now last week, Andrew, not Chris, talked about the first 2, and they were the teacher builds positive relationships through knowing and valuing each student. So Jared just done that very well before when he threw to me because he knew my personal name, which was a bit scary and I wasn't ready for it. 1.2 is that the teacher promotes a culture of value and respect for individuals and their communities. So we're not all the same, we're from a varied backgrounds and taking that into account. Alright, I'm going to be looking at today 1.3 and 1.4. That is the teacher uses strategies that promote student self-confidence and willingness to take risks in their learning. And 1.4 was the teacher ensures each student experiences success through structured support, the valuing of effort and the recognition of their work. So today we're going to look at 1.3 and 1.4. I've got 1.3 on the screen now. So the hope is that teachers use strategies that promote student self-confidence. So how could we as teachers promote student self-confidence? Yep, Jarrah?
One thing is positive feedback.
Positive feedback. So instead of saying, good try, I might say, thank you very much for that contribution. Thank you. Does anybody else have any ideas? Yeah?
We can try to convince the students to voice their opinions.
Yeah? Yeah, thank you very much. So everyone, how's it go? Has anybody got any other ideas? So you might be able to accept unusual answers. So even if someone says something that's a little bit different but still on topic, you could actually thank them for the answer. Now, has anybody ever been shut down by a teacher? Has anybody had an experience where they've thrown something out there and the teacher's like, that's a good idea, but basically no, pipe down? Yeah, sure.
Geology class.
George in class?
A geology class.
Yep, so what happened in geology class?
Well, I was one of the people that dominated discussion, which I think I'm doing now. And I was continually answering the questions. He said, no, you're not answering any more questions.
So maybe a more tactful way, does someone want to suggest a more tactful way to suggest if somebody's dominating the discussion?
Let's hear from someone else.
Yep, let's hear from somebody else. See, that is a better way for the teacher to actually encourage students' willingness to take a risk and share their answers. Now, taking risks. We want students to think outside the square and solve problems, so we don't want it to be an information overload where you guys can give me information back. Rather, we want people to think analytically. So a way to do that is actually encourage kids to take risks. Sometimes the solution isn't obvious, and people might have to think outside the square and throw out an idea that could be completely wrong, but could actually help in their learning. So yeah, we really want to, as teachers, encourage taking risks as well. Alright, now we might just whip on to 1.4 now, and that's that the teacher ensures each student experiences success through structured support, the valuing of effort and recognition of their work. So there's 3 points: structured support, valuing each student's effort, and recognising the work. Now I've got an example here so it's a bit more introduction. Jared, do you want to read that out for me, mate?
Timmy's in year 8, but the rest of the class are ahead of Timmy's learning ability. But he's just completed a personal writing piece for English.
Thank you very much. So how can we apply this POLT 1.4 as teachers to have structured support, value each student's effort, and recognise each person's work? How could we relate to Timmy here? So how could we set the classroom up so it's structured support? Anyone got any ideas for that?
Like in the video we saw yesterday, provide basics, revert back to the basics. There's like a whole class like kind of discussion of thing, and provide ways where Timmy could maybe use skills, basic skills to further his learning.
Yeah.
Like skeleton program they had at school got them doing.
Yeah. So Timmy feels that he can participate, so it's a kind of a supportive environment where Timmy's not going to get shut down. For saying something there, that's a great point. Now, how can we value each student's effort? How can we value Timmy's effort for his writing piece here in English?
Get him to read it.
Yeah, get him to read it to the class. Yeah, that's great.
And just compliment him on areas that maybe you wouldn't normally compliment people on.
Yeah. So, congratulate Timmy in front of the class and really encourage him. Now, how could we recognise his work? Let's pretend, say, that Timmy maybe is not on Carl's level of intellectual ability, and Carl might be the student getting A's all year. And if you compare Timmy's work to Carl's, well, Timmy might fall short. But how could we still recognise Timmy's work in that?
You could get Timmy to explain how he put his piece together, and as he works through it, thinks if he can identify what he's done better or learned, then congratulate him on that. So at least to get some sort of recognition of what he's done.
Yeah, sure.
I think Timmy needs to recognise that he is behind and to be able to accept that in view of the others being ahead. And once he can accept it, then maybe the others can actually help him get ahead a little bit. But if he doesn't accept it, done.
Yeah, exactly. So, thanks Jared, but I'll just move on because we're running out of time. So you could recognise Timmy's work, but you could even say, Timmy, this is so excellent compared to your last piece of writing, so you've actually made a big jump. So instead of comparing him to the rest of the class, you could actually compare him to how he has improved. So these POLT principles, principle 1 comes down to 2 words. The teacher needs to make the classroom supportive and productive so that each student learns. And I think as teachers we need to make sure that everyone is supported in their learning ability, where they're at, and to engage in the class and be involved. And it's got to be a productive environment where students actually learn, because as teachers, that's what we're meant to do. Now, has anyone got any questions? All right, no questions. Thanks for your time.